Well, this is a day that I'm not sure I ever thought I would see coming. We have had the Summer bus for about 5 years. It took me 2.5 years to convert it, and so we've had it actually on the road for about 3 years, so we've had a little over 5 years. Anyone who's done any type of this conversion obviously knows that there's just a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. It's one of those things that almost becomes a second child to you, or in my case, a fourth child, since I already have 3. But today is a day that, like I said, I never thought I would necessarily see coming. I'm happy to announce that while we love our 3 children and we love our bus as our 4th child, I'm pretty excited to announce that we are currently pregnant with a 5th child. We're expecting another bus. Welcome to my city, where the girls are pretty. How's that? So you might be wondering, why the heck would I do this again? And the answer is simple. I think the first time I did it, I learned a ton. And I love my bus that I have, but sometimes the thought of doing it again and seeing to what level I could take it the next time around would be exciting. I got my right-hand man here with me, my pop, who you may have seen with the first conversion. So here we go, off to Warsaw, Indiana, to check out the next bus in the family. All right, so just finished up lunch, waiting on my dad, and just kind of mulling over in my head sort of the thoughts about all of this. So again, this wasn't something that honestly I'd put a whole lot of thought into. The first conversion took me 2.5 years, and that was it was just a major undertaking. I think the biggest struggle of that conversion for me was just the amount of time lost away from my family, outside in the bus working, young kids at that point. My now 17-year-old was 11 or 12. My 14-year-old was 7 or 8. We, halfway through the conversion, brought home our 3rd child, who is my adopted son from Haiti, and just hours and hours and hours spent out in that stupid bus building, what would eventually be such a great memory maker for our family. And I remember when I crawled into bed the very first night that we took that bus out, I just remember this incredible sense of accomplishment. And I feel it every time we're in it. Like, you kind of look around and you're like, man, I built this. This is from my own hands. I didn't build the frame, obviously, but everything inside of it, the planning, the carpentry, all that went with it. It wasn't until this summer I just started tossing around the idea, man, I love everything about this. I wonder what I would do differently if I did it a second time. And then I started thinking, what if I did do it a second time? What things might I change? Would I do the layout differently? I've always thought, yes, dinette, no dinette. We put in 3 bunks, but honestly, sometimes the kids crash on the couch. So was that wasted space? What if I built something that had fewer bunks, but more places for people to crash? What if I was more intentional about building a space where if a family was with us, my in-laws, my mom and dad, would they have a place they could crash? So just this summer, while we were sort of out on our adventures, just started thinking about it a bit more. And then I started going down the rabbit hole like you do when you're looking at conversions. And so spent some time looking through Facebook Marketplace, looking on different, schoolie or bus sale websites, talking with people that I knew and had forged relationships with in the initial process of our first build, talking with Luke from, he runs schoolie.com now, but was Midwest Wanderers in those days because he and his wife were traveling in their conversion. He's settled now and actually does conversion parts for other people. Talked with Luke a bit about different buses he might, think would make a good next step for us. Reached out to Justin from Gillig and Phantom, who's always been a really cool guy. We were chatting early in his build process because I was super curious about his marine hatch that he installed, and so just had a few people that at times I'd reached out to in the build, and I thought, man, I wonder what their thoughts are about about a second build. If I was going to, what bus would I go with? I had some things that I was pretty sure I wanted if I was going to do a second build, but really felt like I wanted to pick the brains of some people that knew buses. Luke knows buses incredibly well, and Justin is actually currently helping a friend with a conversion, so he's technically on his second conversion. That kind of led me to where I am today. Lots of questions, lots of wondering, lots of thinking, lots of planning, and then lo and behold, the opportunity to get my hands on what I think is going to be a really, really special bus for what will be our second conversion. So that is where we are headed next. We're about an hour away, and when we get there, I'm going to be excited to show it to you.
We got civilians in the hills, on the streets, in the trap, on the beach. Dealerships worth a few million each. Random folks that'll take pictures with you say cheese. Music City represents, talking way about us, can you best repent? Cause God don't like ugly and I don't either. Only place we don't need to pay the meter. If you're a lyrical leader, they all know the whip, they all know the chick. Stop us on the boardwalk to take a pic. Think nothing of it, peeps who done bought my songs. Never did me wrong, Davidson County is where I belong. Track and forth, slam the chords, we got everything you're looking for. Titan spreading sounds, if you're talking sports. Hit I-24, see what else in store. Have a bonfire, make a couple s'mores. Go to the farm, take care of a couple chores. Work during the day, party at night, so we never snore. Hustle hard to stay employed. Bright lights, club fights, sit back and enjoy. Several areas that you might wanna avoid. Extracurriculars for you to join.
All right, so here's the deal. When we started looking at possibilities for other buses, there were just a few things that we had as absolutes on our checklist. So first of all, we wanted to find a 40-foot pusher. The current bus that we have is a 35-foot front engine. The idea of having a 40-foot pusher, engine in the back, a bit more space, a bit quieter, just because the engine is literally 40 feet behind you, was something that we thought would be really, really cool. The problem with the 40-foot pusher for us, however, is one of the things that I love the most about my current build is our large garage that we have accessible from the emergency door in the back. Well, you don't have that, obviously, when you have a 40-foot pusher school bus, because the engine's there. There is no large emergency access from the back. So the other thing on our checklist that our new bus was going to have if we were going to make the jump towards something new was underbelly storage. Large storage underneath where we could do a lot of those things that normally get stored in our current garage underneath in our new garage. I wasn't too caught up necessarily on having to find a particular engine and transmission combo. Obviously, there's some great ones to look at. I looked at a couple internationals with DT466s. I was looking at a Bluebird that had a Cummins 8.3. Neither of those really ended up being, I think, the right choice for us. One of them was way rougher than what I thought it was going to be, and the other one had a seller that just wasn't really being all that honest when it came to some of the things about the bus. And so ultimately, we walked away from both of those. And then I got a message about this bus being for sale. The seller of this bus is a guy named Jay, and Jay actually has created quite a good reputation for himself in the schoolie world. One of the things that I heard immediately about this bus was that Jay would be a great guy to buy from because he's not somebody who cuts corners, and he's got good knowledge. His life has taken a bit of a turn. He and his wife moved to the UK, and so he was at a point where finishing a bus conversion wasn't going to work for him, and so he put his bus up for sale. One of my friends contacted me who knew that I was looking at some bus options and said, hey, my friend is selling this, and it kind of fits all of your check boxes that you've been looking for. And so I called up Jay, had a great conversation with him, could tell almost instantly that he was someone that I would love to do business with. And so we have driven to Warsaw, and I'm sitting in the bus that after I take it for a test drive, unless something completely crazy is wrong with it, I'm gonna put a big wad of cash down on the table and I'm gonna drive this bad boy home.
Snore, hustle hard to stay employed. Bright lights, club fights, sit back and enjoy several areas that you might wanna avoid. Extracurriculars for you to join. Got some bums, got a some. We got the Batman building and the state capitol. May not have parties like Plaxico, but we got musicians playing saxophone. Shout out to the 615. We be about that life, so don't even try. Welcome to my city.
That's the road. That's wood. That about fell through there on the way home. So I pulled over just to move those pieces of wood. That's eventually going to be some storage underneath, but the pieces of wood were loose and I should have screwed them down before we left, but I didn't. So I had to pull over real quick.
Welcome to my city. Country music.
What do you think? Yeah, you gotta watch the holes in the floor, obviously. But.
Experience, we gotta have fun, which is serious. Got the richest cities in the states, make $1 less till next payday. Anyways, when it comes to
Summer 1, Summer 2. 1, 2. 1. Well, the kids approve, which is always a good thing. I can't believe that I have a Gillig Phantom sitting in my driveway. Man, it's a sweet looking bus.